For years, mega food manufacturers have told us to not look at the label or the ingredients of your product, and that high fructose corn syrup is perfectly safe. It's the same as sugar. You shouldn't even care, in fact, if you're eating regular sugar from fruit, then high fructose corn syrup is the same thing. But unfortunately for them, and fortunately for humanity, due to some recent studies I'm about to reveal to you, we have been looking and we have been concerned because we don't want to eat garbage and we don't want to feed our family mercury-laden high fructose corn syrup. And yes, it does contain mercury, as the Washington Post has shown. Specifically now, the corporations have lost the battle to such a degree that they're giving up and renaming high fructose corn syrup. So no longer are you even allowed to know, just like GMOs from Monsanto and other biotech industries, if you're eating high fructose corn syrup. They've gone now, and according to the Corn Growers Association, they have literally changed high fructose corn syrup just to fructose. And how do they possibly get away with that? They just say, well, it's the same thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And this is actually a quote from the Corn Growers Association. They say that the term fructose is now being used to denote a product that was previously known as high fructose corn syrup 90, meaning it's 90% pure fructose. Compare this to what is now termed the regular high fructose corn syrup, which contains either 42 or 55% fructose. And you'll easily know why General Mills and others are so eager to keep you in the dark. Now, specifically what we're saying here is that they're changing high fructose corn syrup to a less scary name, just regular fructose sugar. It's totally safe. The Washington Post, however, and other mainstream news outlets disagree. Let's look specifically here when it was found that high fructose corn syrup, not only is it unhealthy, and there's a new study explaining exactly why and how it's actually killing you and harming your reproduction and shortening your life, but specifically how it's contaminated with one of the most toxic, if not the most toxic substances in the known world. Specifically here, we can look at the Washington Post article from 2009, where it says, almost half of tested samples of commercial high fructose corn syrup contained mercury, which was also found in nearly a third of 55 popular brand name food and beverage products, where high fructose corn syrup is the first or second highest labeled ingredient. This is according to 2 new studies. Now, specifically, they went to the store shelves. This wasn't some scam system. This was an independent actual analysis, and that's why we see real results. We don't see these things when Monsanto or major food corporations fund these studies to say that it's perfectly safe. And you've seen the commercials on television, on YouTube, when the ads play before the video, where they're feeding their families the ice cream and the cookies, and it says, high fructose corn syrup is so safe, it's the same as sugar. Well, as it turns out, they all actually contain these major brand names, about a third of them, and they only tested about 55. You can imagine about 90% of them, I would say, actually contained some form of contamination, maybe not mercury, but they all contained mercury in levels that were actually harmful. Specifically, here is a quote from one of the lead professors. Mercury is toxic in all its forms. Given how much high fructose corn syrup is consumed by children, it could be a significant additional source of mercury never before considered. We are calling for immediate changes by industry and the FDA to help stop this avoidable mercury contamination of the food supply. So specifically now, children are munching down on this garbage, which is bad for them anyway and contains high fructose corn syrup, which is shortening their lives, but they're also getting a major intake of mercury, and they've never factored this in before. And then they're saying, well, gee, what's going on? Why are all these kids getting cancer? Why are all these kids having signs of, heavy metal overload and mercury overload? Why are all these kids getting other sources that we are intaking and not counting all of the high fructose corn syrup and watching them have, childhood diseases that we've never had in the past 50 years? Well, it's pretty simple, and a new study just came out actually while I was looking into all this. I found from the University of Utah, and this is a major groundbreaking study, has been on the front page of many news outlets. However, it's interesting to see when the mainstream media won't actually talk about it because they're, of course, sponsored in many cases by the food manufacturers who have an ad right next to the article proclaiming how safe high fructose corn syrup is and how great their sugary sodas are. So let's look at this article specifically. Fructose more toxic than table sugar in mice. There it is, plainly stated from the University out of Utah. When University of Utah biologists fed mice sugar in doses proportional to what many people eat, the fructose-glucose mixture found in high fructose corn syrup was more toxic than sucrose or table sugar. reducing both the reproduction and lifespan of female rodents. There it is. And they don't even mention that it contains mercury. Is it the mercury doing this? Is it the other contamination? Is it the genetically modified ingredients that go into the corn that makes high fructose corn syrup? Because remember, a large portion of the corn supply, in addition to soy and other crops, are genetically modified. So are we being hit by the mercury, the GMOs, or the very constituents that make up high fructose corn syrup? Let's continue reading. This is the most robust study showing there is a difference between high fructose corn syrup and table sugar at human relevant doses, coming from a biology professor, Wayne Potts, who is the senior author of the study. Now, we've known this for quite some time, and Princeton also said this back, I believe, in 2010, and they were ostracized from the medical community saying, high fructose corn syrup is perfectly safe. And that's what those campaigns came from, because everyone hates high fructose corn syrup. And you talk to anyone that cuts that out of their diet, they're instantly losing weight, feeling better, overall getting up in the morning and actually thinking, what's happening? Oh, wait, I'm not dosing myself with GMOs, mercury, and other constituents that make up high fructose corn syrup. The bottom line, however, is that we are achieving victory, because in reality, these corporations are being forced to run away from the truth. They're being forced to run away from the reality that they're pumping garbage into their products. They know that you know, and you're not going to buy it anymore. That's why they're rebranding it. It actually should be hailed as a victory. These studies coming out is public information and public knowledge growing. And the corporations, they're running behind their darkness, their shield and their cape of darkness, running away from you because you're actually making a difference. You are the activist when you don't buy this garbage. So overall, I would say this is a victory. I would say spread the word, share the information. When this is up on Infowars.com tomorrow in the very early morning and afternoon, share this information. Because if you are unknowingly eating high fructose corn syrup, or your friends and family or your kids are eating high fructose corn syrup under this new name, fructose, and you can share these articles as well to let people know, then they have no idea that they're getting mercury, GMOs, and other garbage in their body on a daily basis that is making them sick, fat, and giving them cancer. I'm Anthony Gucciardi, and it's essential to protect your health, and it's great that we're defunding these worthless corporations that are just plugging us full of total garbage.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.